The first rule from the acids is that all the elements on the periodic table ending on I, the ones in here, you add hydro at the beginning, and then you change the I to ic, and then you add acid. Like here, nitrogen, here is hydrogen and nitrogen. Nitrogen, because it is in here in the periodic table, has a charge of 3. So, as you learned on our previous videos, that you cross the charges. So then you have hydro, nitric, because nitrite, nitrate. Previous videos you saw that when it ended on a negative element, you add the I. So because it is nitrite, you change the I for ic, and it is hydronitric acid. Now you learn to make it vice versa. So you have the name hydrosulfuric acid, and because you know that hydro stands for the H, and then sulfuric for sulfur from sulfide, so then you have the S and it has a charge of 2. That's why you add the H and then the S, but because here was a charge of 2, you cross and then you have H2S.
The case with polyatomic ions that end in ITE and ATE are special. When you have a polyatomic ion like phosphate that ends in ITE, you will change it to OUS. So he will be phosphorus. When you have a polyatomic ion that ends in ATE, like sulfate, you will add IC. So it will be sulfuric acid.
Yeah.
Over here we have HNO2. So we have hydrogen nitrite. What you do is that you just put nitrite, but instead of adding the ITE like you would in a normal polyatomic ion, you use OUS and then you add acid at the end. Over here we have H3PO3. On the problem they will only give you phosphorus acid. So what you can do from this is, since you have phosphite, you need to change it to PO3. And since it's an acid, it's going to have H. PO3 has a charge of -3, so you cross it and it ends like this. Every single acid, every single problem with a hydrogen atom has to end with acid.
When it ends in AAT, it have to end in IC. You change it to IC and it ends in AC. And here you have sulfuric acid. So you have sulfuric is sulfate. So sulfate is CSO4 and it has a charge of -2. That's why a hydrogen has 2. So it's hydrogen 2 sulfate. No sé si se entiende. Silicic is silicate and silicate is SiO3 -2. So you pass a -2 underneath the H and it's hydrogen 2 silicate. And here's the formula. Because you have the -2 and you cross it and it comes down with the H. So it's silicic acid. Remember to put always at the end the acid.
Are the ones that have hydroxide atoms in them. What you do is when you have a problem that is a base, so you see a hydroxide atom, you treat it like a covalent compound. So it's the same thing that we did the other video, but this has hydroxide. We have vanadium hydroxide. So what you do is like a covalent compound, you put the first thing, vanadium, and then you take the number of atoms here and you put it in the middle, and then you put hydroxide and you end in IDE.